Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Dr. Ni and to our fellow friends. Today, we're from Group 7 will present about accounting for zakat other wealth. Without wasting the time, let's start.
Zakat accounting for livestock. Livestock is a property zakat that compulsory to be taken out when the condition is perfect. It has species beneficial to mankind such as meat and milk. The animal must be perfect and no defect. Accepting damaged animals as zakat payment is not fair to the poor and other deserving recipients. The general condition. The first one is nisab. It must pass the requirement of nisab. Secondly, pastured naturally. The livestock not being fed by the purchased food most of the year. The third one is not working animals, such as cultivation, carrying water, loads or riding. It only applies to camels and cows. And the last one is the passage of the year. It must send zakat collector once every year to take the count on livestock. To the extent that if all the zakatable animals were babies, one of them would be acceptable as payment. The owner should be asked to buy an older animal from outside to fulfill the payment of zakat. The average. The zakat collector should not take the best or the worst in quality, but the average of the animals owed. This is essentially because zakat is based on fairness to the two parties. How to determine nisab? The first one is the number of livestock should not be less than 5. And the second one is the value of nisab should equal that of 5 camels or 40 sheep in an area where prices are close to average. Zakat accounting for agriculture produce. Zakat on wheat, barley, date palm, rice and corn. The item should be a major foodstuff and not a secondary one. An item that people normally eat for subsistence and preservable item which is edible. Also, no obligatory zakat on fruits except dates and grapes. Natural forests, bushes and plants that grow on their own are not zakatable. How about zakatable agriculture products in Malaysia? Padi on the basis that is a staple food for Malaysian people. Zakat on agriculture does not require the passage of one full year and payable in the time of harvest. The rate is differ from 5% to 10%. Also, nisab for agriculture must be at least 5 wash to be zakatable, each wash being 60 sa, that is 2.176 kg. Zakat on income from agriculture is assessed on the net profit after deduction of agriculture costs.
Okay, next we move to accounting for zakat on investment. There are two types accounting for zakat on investment, which is zakat for investment account and zakat for investment fund. Zakat for investment account is due on the balance of investment account, which is principal plus profit, and the rate to calculate is 2.5%. But if the balance includes interest, zakat is due on the principal only because the interest is prohibited and should be donated to charities. For zakat on investment funds, there has 3 important categories. First category is commodity and share murabahah funds. On this category, zakat is due on the balance, which is principal plus profit of the murabahah-based fund, as if the fund was considered as the asset for trade which they reach the threshold and complete the 1-year ownership cycle. Second category is ijara or lease fund. In this category, no zakat is required on the asset of funds investing in the leased property, equipment and vehicles. Zakat is charged on the return of their asset after it reached the minimum threshold and complete the 1 year of ownership. For the last category is equity funds. In this category, there has 2 different scenarios, which is the first scenario is to invest for a long time and to gain benefit from it, which is dividend. In this scenario, first, the investor need to pay zakat based on amount of the yearly dividend, and second, when the investor sell the share, zakat payment based on the entire amount of the investment. For the second scenario is when the investor intend to generate short-term profit from the investment, which is trade. In this scenario, the investor will need to pay the zakat based on the entire amount of the shares at market value when calculate the zakat.
Next, mineral or marine wealth. Some jurists argue that recast has a rate of 20% when the cost involved is small or at minimum. According to Imam Malik and Shafi'i, if the cost is high relative to the amount of mineral extract, the amount would be 2.5%. Majority of scholars believe that recast includes anything that exists on or below the surface of earth, except Imam Shafi'i, who restrict the meaning of recast to gold and silver only. For gold and jewelry, it has two types of them, which are intended for usage and not intended for usage. When it not intended for usage, it obligated for zakat when the weight of the gold has reached the haul and nisab of 85 grams. Total zakatable is equal to weight of the gold times current market value of gold per gram times 2.5%. If it intended for usage, it's only obligated for zakat if the weight of a piece of the gold jewelry has reached the haul and uruf according to each state. Zakat is then based on 2.5% of the excess over the uruf. Zakat for silver. The nisab for the silver is 200 dirham, which is equivalent to 595 grams or more. Total zakatable is equal to weight of the silver, which is more than 595 grams times current market value of silver per gram times 2.5%. For financial asset, cash, which include all cash on hand, exclude any interest which accrued from this account. However, for stock and investment, include all stock, common and preferred, include only the face value of the bonds and exclude any interest. This financial asset rate for zakat is 2.5% annually if they reach the nisab individually or collectively.
Okay, now we move to the next topic, accounting for zakat on income. There are two types of zakat on income. First is zakat on earned income, known as mal al-mustafad. Second, zakat on non-employment income, known as mal al-mustawfalat. Zakat on earned income means zakat that is obligated on income derived from jobs performed under the instruction of employees or income derived from self-employment in any permissible activities. Earned income did not subject to haul condition and is zakatable on the receipt. As for nisab, it is considered on the basis of yearly gross income. The gross income must be more than or equal to the nisab amount, which is 85 grams of gold times current market value. The due amount of earned zakat are 2.5% from the total net employment income. The debt and a minimum standard of living for the income earned and his or her family are deductible. This is an example of accounting calculation for a zakat on earned income. Next is zakat on non-employment income, which means earning income from producing exchangeable services or goods that are sold for profit without exhausting the exploited assets themselves. Mustawfalat are unzakatable, but generate revenue from these assets are zakatable, such as all products from livestock, rental income from the land. Some ulama, including Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qardawi, analyzing the zakat of exploited assets to agricultural land. As for Imam Ahmad, he believes that monthly earned rent and income will be treated like goods that are collected periodically, and then all the collections are added together. Zakat income from exploited assets is assessed after deduction of taxes, wages, debt, maintenance, and so on based on a price value. It's paid at the rate of 2.5% times 85 grams of gold times current market value per gram. As for how, usage of zakat here received through rent or on income earned. Even a rental income that comes in the day before the zakat year end is calculated and paid on the zakat due date. This is example of accounting calculation for zakat on non-employment income.
Based on the video, we can conclude that there is a lot of type for the accounting of zakat for other wealth, which is not only zakat for personal income and zakat fitrah.